Flush it, learn from it, and quickly move on. That's how the Ravens are attacking this week ahead. Turning the page on their Cleveland loss Sunday and another late fourth quarter blown lead, as it's all eyes ahead to Thursday night when Cincinnati comes into town.
The game Thursday, that's what I'm focused on. The game Thursday, you know, what's behind us is the past. I'm looking forward to the future at the end of the day.
There's no better way to move on than a short week when due to a tight AFC North race, where if the Ravens lose on Thursday, that means they could have company at the top of the AFC North after Week 11. And Cincinnati is calling Thursday night a playoff must-win game for them due to being in last place in the standings. And it all plays out Thursday under the lights at M&T Bank Stadium.
At nighttime with our crowd, it's electrifying. So I'm definitely pumped to be in that atmosphere.
It's a playoff atmosphere, especially with that team, what they've been doing lately. It's like I said, a playoff atmosphere. So we just got to go out there, like I said, play our best game, not try to put too much pressure on ourselves, just go out there and have fun, honestly.
Today was the final full practice for the Ravens as they prepare for the Bengals. Tomorrow they will have a walkthrough. The Ravens were without 7 players on the practice field today, 6 of those starters. The biggest names, an all-pro cornerback Marlon Humphrey with a calf and left tackle Ronnie Stanley. John Harbaugh said once again they are day-to-day and have a chance for Thursday night. On the good side, right tackle Morgan Moses, who has missed the last 2 games with a shoulder injury, told me he plans to play on Thursday. Reporting in Owings Mills, I'm Morgan Adsit for Sports Unlimited.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, a federal fistfight nearly broke out on the Senate floor. What led to the argument and the tweet that started it all? And new questions tonight about this weekend's crime spree that ended with 2 teens shot. Why officers' calls for backup weren't answered, and what they're now saying about the key crime-fighting tool in the skies.
Republican lawmakers rolling out a plan to address public safety. Tonight, Fox 45 pressing lawmakers about how they're addressing juvenile crime concerns from parents and prosecutors. An update on a crime spree this weekend that left 2 teens shot, what police are now saying about a need for backup from the air. Jewish communities from around the nation gathered in D.C. to fight against anti-Semitism, how they're showing support for Israel as war in the Middle East rages on.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Restoring safer communities is our top priority for the 2024 legislative session. And we are pleading with our Democrat colleagues to join us in making it their priority as well.
Republicans in Annapolis unveiling their proposals to address public safety and juvenile crime. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Thanks for staying with us. We begin tonight with Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost. She headed down to Annapolis to press lawmakers about their plans today, has the very latest developments.
There are 5 different bills in this public safety package. Some of them aren't new, like the Violent Firearms Offender Act, but others were crafted specifically from concerns we've been hearing about from parents, prosecutors, and police when it comes to juvenile crime. The next legislative session is about 2 months away, but Tuesday.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
House and Senate Republicans rolling out their proposal now to address public safety.
There is an expectation that the governor comes to the table.
In response to the death of Pavel Lepere, the 26-year-old tech executive who was killed in her own Baltimore apartment building, the suspect, Jason Billingsley, who was released from prison early after a previous rape conviction thanks to what's called diminution credits, or credit for good behavior or participating in work programs. Now, the GOP tailoring a plan targeting those credits.
In order to keep our community safe, criminal sentences need to mean something.
The plan seeks to end the credit system for people convicted of first and second degree murder and cap it for other offenses. But one of the hallmark bills in this package centering around juvenile crime in Maryland.
The Juvenile Justice Restoration Act is a response to loud outcry from the public, law enforcement, and state's attorneys.
The plan calls to allow for a parent approval of a juvenile facing questions from law enforcement to be a substitute for an attorney. Requires anyone under 13 who commits a crime with a gun to be supervised under the Department of Juvenile Services. And if a kid is arrested 3 or more times for the same nonviolent crime, like car theft, that juvenile will go to DJS. The plan comes on the heels of 2 juvenile crime hearings in the House, where prosecutors from around the state.
If a crime clearly has occurred, we should allow our officers to take action, and it's frustrating to the community that we cannot.
Have all but begged lawmakers to amend the current laws preventing kids 13 and younger from facing charges for certain nonviolent crimes, like car thefts, where in Baltimore alone, there's been a 227% increase this year compared to last. But the juvenile crime crisis isn't just confined to the walls of DJS facilities, and juveniles on home monitoring are finding themselves victims of crime, like Jalen Richards, a 12-year-old gunned down in South Baltimore. Or suspects like Tristan Jackson wearing an ankle monitor during the Brooklyn Day mass shooting in Baltimore, and now it's not clear if the Republican plan has the details ironed out. Is there an element in this proposal that goes after the home monitoring aspect of DJS?
So not in this particular proposal, no.
So just so I'm clear, you're referring more children to DJS, but not providing funding or programming to help DJS supervise them? House Minority Leader Jason Buckles stepping up to answer instead.
No one thinks that an 11-year-old who shoplifts should be referred to a facility. People do think that a 15 or a 16-year-old, that perhaps it's their second or third time that they've committed these escalating series of crimes. It starts with a nonviolent car theft and goes to a carjacking and goes to a first-degree assault and goes towards taking a shot at someone. Those kids need more than what the child in need of assistance or child in need of supervision system can provide them. And so I think resources have been cut. That's a budgetary issue. As you know, we'll see what Governor Moore's budget says.
While Republicans remain hopeful their plans will succeed, passage will hinge on support from Democrats in the State House. Juvenile crime policy will no doubt be a major topic during this upcoming legislative session. So far, we have yet to see specific plans from Governor Wes Moore or other Democrats here in Annapolis. In the State House, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Well, some of the bills in the Republican package include legislation that has failed to gain traction in the past, like the Violent Firearms Offender Act. It calls for increasing the penalty for somebody who uses an illegal gun in a crime from 3 years to 5. The bill also calls for penalties for somebody who knowingly gives or sells a gun to somebody to commit a crime. This legislation was a top priority for former Governor Larry Hogan, but it failed to pass. The legislation passed the Senate in 2020 and 2021. Republicans are also trying to make the theft of a firearm a felony. Again, this legislation has been introduced by GOP lawmakers since 2018 without success. And new this year, the Drug-Free Roadways Act of 2024. This legislation seeks to reverse a plan passed last session, banning police from using the smell of marijuana as a reason to make a traffic stop. Now, Republicans argue allowing law enforcement to make these type of stops can help get guns off the streets.
In my jurisdiction, 80% of the guns we seized illegally on the streets of my county last year came out of car searches because of the odor of marijuana. We're not getting those 80% anymore.
That brings us to our question of the day. Who do you trust more to handle juvenile crime, Republicans or Democrats? So far, 97% of those who voted say Republicans. You can vote right now at foxbaltimore.com/vote. Well, tonight there are some new questions about a crime spree at least 2 teens are believed to have been involved in over the weekend. We're learning responding officers were calling for air support, but BPD's helicopter Foxtrot was not available. Alexa Ashwell questioned the department and has the latest on this investigation.
Foxtrot is a key crime-fighting tool when it comes to actively tracking suspects. At one point in time this past Saturday, it wasn't available, and a law enforcement expert believes it could have stopped a crime spree sooner.
Confirm we have 1 attempt armed robbery, 1 complete armed robbery, and possible carjacking.
Over the radio, you can hear Baltimore police officers and dispatch piecing together 4 violent crimes that had just occurred within minutes of one another in the southeastern district.
Units be advised, we're getting another armed robbery at gunpoint involving a white Honda Elantra. Fox is down.
Dispatch informs officers on the ground that BPD's helicopter Foxtrot is not up. Officers calling for it again.
Do we think this is part of our pattern that's been dormant for a minute? Yes. We're on the line with that task force right now. Fox up yet?
Negative. I sent multiple requests, including a request for county air.
BPD's aviation section, also known as Foxtrot, is a key component to the crime fighting effort. It's not only as a force multiplier in that from above it can replace 10 to 15 police officers on the street, if not more, but it also is critical because the BPD has a restrictive pursuit policy. So officers are really, really discouraged from engaging in pursuits, and in many cases outright prohibited.
Former Baltimore Police Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson weighing in, saying had Foxtrot been up and actively pursuing the suspects, officers could have stopped them sooner. The spree ended with 2 teens being shot.
This just exposes how necessary it really is.
Fox 45 News questioned BPD, asking why Foxtrot was grounded. A spokesperson wrote, Foxtrot has set hours of operation, and those hours fluctuate during high crime times. On Saturday at 8:30 p.m., Foxtrot had not started their shift yet. This was not due to staffing, funding, or mechanical issues.
Having airborne law enforcement, it's essential.
Baltimore police have not yet said what, if any, charges the 13-year-old and 14-year-old may be facing, as well as if anyone else was taken into custody and may be facing charges. The investigation ongoing. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Taking a live look from Washington, D.C. tonight, where thousands of people from Jewish organizations across the nation gathered at the National Mall for the March for Israel rally. Participants say they are standing in solidarity with Israel, calling for the release of hostages held by Hamas, and condemning the rise of acts of anti-Semitism following the October 7th Hamas-led attack on Israel. Israel has since declared war with Hamas and sent ground troops into the Gaza Strip in hopes of taking down Hamas and freeing the hostages being held by the terrorist group. Meanwhile, thousands of Palestinian civilians have been killed in the crossfire. Coming up in just a few minutes, national correspondent Christine Frizzau was in Washington, D.C. all day. She'll join us live with the latest developments and emotional words from those in attendance. In Washington, D.C., the mayor is taking drastic action to address the rise in youth crime. Mayor Muriel Bowser has declared a public emergency order to address the youth crime crisis. In the first 9 months of 2023, there were 458 juvenile arrests for robbery, carjacking, homicide, and assault with a deadly weapon, a 10% increase from the year before. Now the mayor is calling on the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services to increase capacity for youth in their custody and for a real-time monitoring of GPS devices upon their release. She's advocating for tougher consequences and pushing back against the lenient laws.
We believe that more kids, as you've heard me say many times, if they've been, arrested for robbery after robbery, shouldn't be in a group home, in my opinion. They should be in a secure, detained space.
Meanwhile, in Baltimore City, youth crime also persists with little to no consequences. Fox 45 News reached out to Mayor Scott's office asking if he would consider doing something similar to Mayor Bowser's plan here in Baltimore. So far, we haven't heard back.
A rise in anti-Semitic incidents around the country, a central theme of the March for Israel. I'm Christine Frizzell with the details.
And temperatures going to be on the fall overnight after highs at 61 today, dropping into the low and mid 30s by morning. I'm going to let you know when things could warm to near 70 around here. That's in my Weather Authority forecast.
Well, tensions erupted on Capitol Hill today after a fist fight nearly broke out in a Senate hearing. Meanwhile, one Republican congressman is accusing former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy of assaulting him. Now, the first argument started when Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen recalled an interaction he had with the Teamsters Union President Sean O'Brien on the platform X. In a series of tweets, O'Brien called Mullen a little man and a greedy CEO. Mullen called O'Brien out on the tweets and appeared to attempt to remove his wedding ring, saying, "We can finish it here." But Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders intervened. Now, on the other side of the Capitol, Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett is accusing Congressman Kevin McCarthy of elbowing him in the kidneys while he was speaking to reporters. Burchett said it was done intentionally. McCarthy denies the allegations. The March for Israel in Washington was not just about support for Israel. Demands were made once again to bring the hostages held by Hamas home and to fight back against the rise of anti-Semitism happening around the nation. National correspondent Christine Frizzell was at today's march. She joins us live on Capitol Hill with more. Christine, good evening.
Yeah, this is really interesting, Mary. So another really main topic here was the fight against anti-Semitism on college campuses. And at a hearing on that very topic, one of the experts testified that even before October 7th, they were seeing historic levels of this. And since the war broke out, since the attack, those incidents have been multiplied by 10. The National Mall in Washington packed with people gathering in support of Israel. 5.5 weeks after more than 1,400 were killed there by Hamas.
This is totally because of Hamas, because they're holding our hostages and because they attacked Israel.
I think this shows the world that we're not afraid and we're here. We're going to stay. We have one country and we're going to protect it.
Another central theme of the march, combating anti-Semitism, with incidents up more than 300% from this time last year and skyrocketing on college campuses. Also, the subject of a hearing just a few blocks away.
We have a crisis today on America's campuses. This is an emergency.
Incidents include threats to kill Jewish students at Cornell, anti-Semitic messages projected on University of Pennsylvania buildings, and an overall campus culture Sahar Tartak says makes her fear for her safety at Yale.
I sit in a crowded dining hall and I ask myself, how many people in this room want me dead?
More than 1,600 Harvard alumni in a letter calling for meaningful reforms on campus to ensure that every student is safe, threatening to withhold funds to the university, adding, "We never thought we would have to argue for recognition of our own humanity." Faith leaders demanding change. You are here on Capitol Hill. What do you hope lawmakers can do?
We hope lawmakers will simply enforce Title VI. The federal government has as a rule that it will only provide funding to programs, to universities, to public spaces where everyone feels safe.
Concerns about safety now and in the future, a presence permeating in Washington. And these calls for college campus administrators and law enforcement to do more are growing louder, and we do expect them to build, Mary.
And Christine, it's not just only anti-Semitic incidents. We are also seeing a rise in anti-Arab and anti-Muslim incidents, correct?
That's right. The Council on American Islamic Relations says those incidents have spiked more than 200% just in the last month. And, you know, there are also growing concerns that certain entities are talking about banning or limiting pro-Palestinian protests. You know, a lot of these people are simply calling for a ceasefire. And they say, you know, that the support for Israel should not overshadow the rights of Americans to speak out against Israel's response, which has resulted in the death of 11,000 people plus in Gaza, nearly half of whom have been children.
All of it very difficult. Christine Frizzell live for us in D.C. today. Thank you.
Well, the next weather maker still several days away. Toyota issued a harbor skycam for now. Well, it's fair weather, high pressure and good control, so that's clear skies. And now cooling temperatures did make it to 61 earlier this afternoon. First day in 2 or 3 days, actually making it into the 60s. Winds variable at 6 and our humidity at 44%. Temperatures up and down the 95 corridor, including here in Baltimore in the 40s to right around 50 degrees. And warmer numbers south. Look at you, Roanoke. You were 70 yesterday. Right now we're at 59, and those winds are going to switch southerly tomorrow, so that's going to keep that milder air locked in for now. Clear skies are here. There's some clouds to the south with the weather maker moving right around Atlanta, Georgia, a little storm system there. But we, on the other hand, are going to be controlled by this big blue H. That's the high pressure I was talking about. So that brings fair weather. That's also going to bring us some warming conditions as this next system way to the north and west around Minneapolis approaches. Ahead of that, warmer air going to get shoved in. The cooler numbers getting pushed out. So by Thursday, we're in the mid 60s and could even push near 70 as we work toward, that's right, this early weekend, maybe Friday, 68 degrees. So as we work our way into the overnight hours, so it looks like the temperatures fall from the low 50s back down quickly into the 40s by about 11 p.m. So jackets, sweaters going to be out, and we'll also have the potential of some frosty conditions by early tomorrow morning. A little bit chillier, maybe by a degree or two than what we saw this morning, down into the low to mid 30s. And then tomorrow afternoon, good looking day with highs about 55 to 60 degrees with sun. 33 tonight, chilly and clear. Tomorrow we're at 59, sunny skies, winds out of the south at about 5 to 10. A near normal day, we'll say. Coming up in my exclusive 10-day forecast, I'm going to let you know when we could touch about 70 and when a weekend cool down is going to ensue.
Jonathan, thank you. A woman in Seattle fearing for her life after police break down her door in tonight's Assignment America. Why she's suing officers for violating her civil rights, claiming they were at the wrong house. A Seattle woman says she feared for her life after police broke down her door responding to a crisis call. Now she's suing the city and 5 Seattle police officers. Michelle Esteban from our Sinclair sister station in Seattle has the body cam video.
Seattle Police Department, open the door!
As this was happening, Elizabeth Wren was about to step into the bathtub inside her Belltown apartment.
Seattle Police! Show me your hands! Inside. Who else is inside?
Nobody. I live alone. According to the lawsuit, police were responding to reports of someone in crisis throwing objects from a 4th